Do you want to hit us with that intro music?
The sweet, sweet intro music.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Bianca, and I got Apotheon from a piñata at a birthday party that I was not invited to.
Hi, my name is Trent, and I got Celeste. I dug it right out of a hole, right out of a big old hole. There was a hole, there was some stuff on top of it, and I dug it out.
Wow. And I forgot I owned that.
that.
Welcome back to another week of I Forgot I Own That. On this podcast, we like to chat about some video games, and by that I mean we own a lot of them, and we sometimes forgot that we owned them. So we have challenged ourselves to each play one a week, and now we are here to tell you about our experiences, dish out some hot takes, what have you. But first, we like to kind of get the juices flowing, warm up a bit by telling y'all what the best thing we saw this week is. So Trent, what is the best thing you saw this week?
So, everybody's locked down, can't go places, can't see people. So my best buddy, Ryan, who lives alone, and I feel sorry for him because this is not the best time to be doing that. This last weekend, he'd been toying with this idea for a little while, and I urged him into it.
Yeah, 100% great idea.
Such a good idea. So many years ago, probably, I'm guessing he made this while inebriated in some way, but he made the decision to acquire all of those. I think they were like big, huge games or so, like some series of children's games. Mm-hmm. Some names you might remember: Freddy Fish, Spy Fox, Pajama Sam. There's a whole bunch of those. I know you...
The classics.
I know you know nothing about this.
For whatever reason, that have not entered my childhood, but...
Maybe it's a Midwest thing. Who's to say?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of kids, like, point-and-click adventure games, and he has all of them for some reason on Steam. So starting last week, he decided he was going to stream himself on Twitch playing them. So we had the first evening of that on... I think it was Friday night, and we just cracked open a cold one and just watched him play this children's game.
So much fun.
Yeah, it was a very enjoyable evening. Looking forward to more of that.
Yeah.
What was the best thing you saw this week?
Well, so I, on like the social medias and on the YouTubes, I follow the friend group of YouTubers / Twitch streamers that are like Gerard the Completionist, Jesse Cox, Crendor, Dodger, Strippin. And Dodger and Strippin have a daughter named Clark who just recently celebrated her second birthday yesterday. Woohoo!
Mazel tov.
And so Sam posted on Twitter, "I'm building Clark a tiny kitchen, and even though she doesn't know what it is yet, she keeps yelling, 'Thank you, Daddy.'" I just thought that was so cute.
That's very good.
Honestly, every single thing that either Sam or Dodger posts about Clark is amazing. But for some reason, this just like really took the cake for me out of the most recent Clark
I like
content.
that a lot.
Yeah,
It's very
so
good. She
was very appreciative of her tiny kitchen, Chef Clark.
So what'd you play this week?
I played a game called Apotheon. So this game was developed and published and yada yada by Alien Trap, and it was released in Why are you laughing?
I like Alien Trap.
As a name or like as a company?
As a name.
Okay.
Like, I imagine they're rivals with Alienware. So, like, Alienware's like, we're going to equip the aliens. And Alien Trap's like, we're going to catch those aliens. Sorry, this was way too early for a bit. Please carry on.
I appreciate it. The game was released in 2015, which is older than I thought. I purchased it a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, maybe. And it was one of those things that Steam just like recommended, that being like, I think you would like this. And I was like, you know what? I think I would too. So I bought it when it was on sale and then never played it.
Happens.
So here
Happens
I
to the
am.
best of us.
Here I am
This
today.
is why we have this podcast.
Exactly. So here I am today to tell you that I finally sat down to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will continue to play it because this game is lit. So it's like an action platformer type game.
Okay.
Very just hack and slash. You're just killing things and whatnot. And it is like Greek mythology themed. You play this like mortal hero guy who, so Zeus is being a little bitch.
As he does.
Right. And and he's making things difficult for humans down in the mortal world and basically making the mortal world turn to shit so that the gods can rule everything for the most part. The gods are just all being dicks.
Sure.
And then the humans are just trying to live their lives and it's not going well. So you as like the mortal person are sent to go up to the land of the gods and figure shit out.
Okay.
And just make it all better for the humans. And there's just so much I like about this game. But what I think is interesting that I will first point out before I get into kind of like the weird things and the things that I super loved about this game was that it's like, even though it has that plot, it's a non-linear game, sort of. Because there's a lot of maps and you just kind of like a lot of the game is like exploration of areas and objectives just kind of pop up whenever you enter an area. So it's not necessarily like you have to complete this main quest in order to progress in anything. It's just like if you happen to explore a place, it'll be like, oh, apparently you have objectives here. This is where you go to get them. Do whatever you need to do, but you can tackle them kind of in any order that you want. Which was really nice for me because I could kind of segment how I was playing things according to where I was going. And so I really like that it's like non-linear. So you can kind of do things as you want. But just to get my quote unquote dislikes out of the way, because I was really struggling to find places to maybe critique on this game. And I suppose I don't have to critique every game, but I mean, there's something in every one, I think. One is that the controls and the actual like fighting in the game are a little bit wonky. It's very airy and light. So the jumping and the way that the enemies move around makes it kind of hard to fight them because everything's just like floating everywhere and you're just really trying to like stab something and it's just not working out.
It's
so
drifting past.
Yeah.
Like a lost soul, like a plastic bag in the wind.
Yeah.
Like Katy Perry once
Do you
foretold.
ever feel like a plastic bag? Exactly. So that part's a little tough, and then the controls just are a little bit wonky along with that, just with trying to aim things correctly. And I was playing with a controller, and I don't particularly like using ranged weapons, so I was having trouble when I was learning the ranged weapon part of it. I was having trouble aiming on the controller. Maybe it's better on keyboard and mouse. I'm not sure. But I'm afraid that other aspects of the gameplay would be more difficult on keyboard and mouse. So that's why I stuck with the controller and just avoided range stuff altogether. So a little weird there. And then also I just noticed when I was playing it some more today, I was, stabbing some boxes to loot some items. And because the like aiming is a little bit wonky, sometimes you like stab in a direction you don't really realize that you're about to stab into. So my dude was about to stab completely downward towards the floor, and I was like, this is fine, it'll still hit the box. So he hit the box and an item came out of the box, but going along with the downward motion of everything that was happening, the item just went through the floor and disappeared.
Oh. Well, that's not great.
No. So I was like, well, good thing I didn't super need that, but sad.
Yeah. Very sad.
So yeah, it's kind of glitchy in that way, I guess. And the game also crashed on me once loading into a new area.
Okay.
But it only happened the one time, so everything was fine after that. But things I absolutely adore about this game. One, the art style is so cool. And it's one of the things that convinced me to buy the game in the first place, because the art style is like the Greek black figure pottery style.
Okay.
So yeah, if you think of like, I don't know, when you had your ancient Greek history unit in high school or whatever, and you learn about the art, and it's like the, reddish orange pottery
Yeah.
where they painted black figures and whatever designs on
Yeah.
it. That's what this game looks like.
That's
And
very
it's
cool.
really cool. So I really, really love that. The music is also pretty cool too, and it gets intense when things are fighting, and I'm just like in it. I am Greek, and I am fighting, and I don't know, here I go.
Makes you feel like the Greek you were born to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you go the distance?
I
can go the distance.
oh my god. Yeah. I mean, my character isn't as built as Hercules, but I can dream. So so that's cool. And I also really like the fighting cuz I mean, obviously, it's very aggressive. So for me, I just go in there with my spear and I'm just like ooh 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 slash slash. Ha ha.
Poke.
Poke. So that was fun, and there's like a lot of different weapons that you can pick up and a lot of different upgrades. And what I noticed again playing today, because there's like a weaponsmith and an armor guy and a weapon trainer person. I went to the blacksmith guy and I was like, oh hey, let me level up my armor, please. And then he ran out, and I was like, oh, where do I get more? This surely can't be it. And then so I talked to him again. He was like, oh, you have all everything that I can make. I'm afraid you need to find someone who can make better armor. And I was like, oh my god, there is like a higher level blacksmith somewhere in this game. Awesome. So I can't wait to find that person and get some stronger stuff, because all my weapons are level 1 right now apparently. Yeah, so I'm just like pumped.
Can only go up from here.
Exactly. So I love just how many options there are. So if you prefer, some spear style weapon, you can do that, or sword or club, whatever you want. They've got it. I also love how much exploring you can do in this game. The maps are pretty big. And a lot of them are like nested too. So it's like there's one area in another area in another area, and you just kind of keep going. And there's like secrets in every map, and there's like lock picking involved, and like chests behind locked doors or behind other barriers that you have to figure out how to undo. Except so there's like this marketplace called the Agora, and in this area it's kind of like where all the gods hang out, and there are these like locked and hidden areas and things you can loot and stuff, but there are also guards all over this marketplace.
Sure.
So if you even stab your sword at a box to get what's inside and a guard is nearby, he'll come up to you and be like, hey, you are defying the laws of Zeus.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
You gotta pay tribute or else, basically. And the paying tribute is just a 20 gold fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was expecting something a little different for the tribute of Zeus.
Like what?
Well, okay. Not. Am I going to slut shame Zeus a little bit? So, we know Zeus. Homie gets around.
Sure.
Yeah. I guess I was expecting something a little rapier. As a Zeus toll.
Yes.
Like a butt toll, perhaps.
Oh my. Well, that is not the tribute. I will say right now, I'll clear that up for you. That is definitely, I think, canon, what you suggested.
Thank you.
But not what is happening in this game. It's a different kind of game that you are suggesting there.
Maybe I'll make my own then.
Oh my. Well, good luck with that. Yeah, so it's a 20 gold fine, or you get your weapon out and you have to fight these guards. So there's kind of a trick to it, you can sometimes like lock pick a door that's next to a guard, and you unlock it and the guard's like, hey, and you're like, it's fine, let me pay you the gold. Do some Qui-Gon on there, the like you didn't see anything, the Jedi mind tricks. sometimes the guards will walk away and you're like, cool, cool, cool. I'll just like go in here and loot my stuff and be done. Other times the guards will be like, no, you're still thieving. You're still being violent in this here marketplace. So I'm gonna blow my horn and call upon all the other guards in the marketplace to come kill you.
Oh,
And
great.
the other unfortunate thing is, so when you are in combat, you are not allowed to enter any buildings or any rooms. So you have no choice but to attempt to fight your way through this terrible
I like how
situation.
You emphasize attempt.
Right, because it's me we're talking. And there have been more than one occasions where I have kind of done the dumb thing and went ahead and picked a lock and still made the guards mad and, did my best to fight them and did not win. Luckily, you don't really lose a whole lot of progress if you die and have to resurrect. It's not that bad if you die. So you get that's the one like stealth component to this game, because if you
haunts you everywhere you go.
If you want to loot, you got to be careful.
And I'm such a loot slut. I would get caught all the time.
Well, yeah, because part of this is like kind of like collectible stuff, because there's like a certain amount of like loot chests in every area. And I want to get them all.
Oh no.
And then there's like keys that unlock certain places, and I'm like, well, where does this? I don't know what this goes to. I have a key, and I think I found one today, and I know where it is, but there's so many guards, and I just don't even know how to handle that. So I'm gonna wait on that. I'm gonna sit on that. So the exploration is great. The slight kind of collectible stuff is really cool. Ooh, and before every main area, there's kind of this little like, not an obelisk because that's Egyptian, but like this tablet, and when you click on it, it'll give you like an actual quote of like from like Greek mythology stuff, and it'll like quote it and give you the source, and it'll be whatever's relative to kind of whatever area you're about to go in, like the Forest of Artemis or whatever. So that's pretty fun that they include actual kind of like mythological text in there, just kind of scattered around. And then another thing I wanted to mention was the boss fights, sort of, air quotes, because I'm not sure if this is a common thing in the game, because I've only had to do a couple, but I had to fight Artemis to get Artemis's bow. That was one of my objectives, is to get the bow of Artemis. And the boss fight was really cool because she like got mad or something, and then she turned you into a stag, and then you had to run around and hit all these like certain kind of like pillars to turn you back into a human. But when you get turned back into a human, Artemis then gets turned into the animal. So that's how you attack her, is when she's the animal. But then if she gets all of the hits all of like the statues, then she'll turn back into the human and you turn back into the stag. So you just have this like back and forth of like who's vulnerable when. And that was really fun, and not at all like so challenging that I wanted to die. It was like yeah, it was like a fun challenge where it like I understood the gimmick and I was like, cool, this is fun. So I don't know how other fights are in the game like that, but I hope they're similarly fun.
Yeah.
I had a really great time with this game. It's so cool. So cool. And yeah, that's all I've got. What'd you play this week?
So this week I played Celeste, which is a modern platformer game made by Matt Thorson. It was originally released in 2018, which is actually a lot more recent than I thought. I thought it was at least a year older than that for some reason. So in Celeste, you play as Madeline, who's a young woman trying to climb a mountain.
Casual.
Through jumping around, you do some air dashing, and you physically climb up things. And it throws a bunch of different kind of obstacles at you over the course of the thing, like any good platformer does.
I just realized we both played platformers this week.
Kinda.
It's a platformer week.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yours is a little hack and slashy.
Yeah, yours is more puzzly, but
Mine is just jumping.
yeah, that's fair.
So during the game, you encounter just a couple other characters, including like a shadowy reflection of Madeline. And the story arc across the whole game sort of deals with overcoming mental illness and self-doubt and things like that. The mountain that you climb is pretty directly used as a symbol for those kinds of issues.
Oh,
which is
okay.
So people, like we were talking about Gravity Ghost last week, people talk about like dealing with grief.
They
People
like
talk
really
about,
vibe with it.
People talk about Celeste in pretty emotional ways too, which is very nice.
I had no idea that that's what the game was about. Like I had seen playthroughs of levels and things, but I paid no attention to the story whatsoever. I think it must have been just background when I was watching it. So like I've
Sure.
only seen the actual gameplay, but not the story part of it. So I didn't.
Yeah, and I mean like there's only a couple sets of not even cutscenes, they're just like dialogue blurbs in each level. Like the bulk of the time you spend is not devoted to story.
Right.
So I'm not surprised that if you weren't doing it yourself or paying attention, you wouldn't notice.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah, so this is like a true modern platformer, and by that I mean it's super nimble characters, like a really high degree of control and flexibility with moving them around the space, and just ridiculously treacherous environments. You die a lot.
Yeah,
Other
there's
things.
even like a counter for how many times you die.
We'll get there. Yeah. So the other game was pretty widely known in this sort of same vein was Super Meat Boy. That was like sort of the first big smash hit, like modern platformer, when that came out, whatever, 8 years ago. And yes, so it has a death counter for each level. So to give you an idea, in just the second like actual level in the game, I died around 330 times.
That's a lot of times.
Yes.
Was that the hotel?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go with yes. And there were a couple rooms in that where like I was just flinging myself at a wall and dying repeatedly just because it was the thing I needed to do was right there. And the difference between life and death is so slim, such a small margin. To build on sort of the true platformer thing, there's also a bunch of like hidden and not so hidden collectibles that you can get. Like the main ones are the strawberries that appear in different rooms. Sometimes they're hidden, sometimes they aren't, and you can see them, so you figure out the puzzle of how to get them and get out safely. So they tempt you into these extra challenges. So if you just played straight through the game, just getting from point A to point B, you wouldn't die nearly as much, and it wouldn't be quite as hard as it ends up being, because a lot of the challenge is those extra pieces.
But you gotta get the extra pieces.
They're like these succulent, floating, glowing strawberries, and you're just like,
How can you ignore those?
you can't, in my experience, because I went after every single one that I could, and I found myself like pinging myself at walls, thinking that they were fake walls because those exist in this game.
Oh.
Like anything that was vaguely suspicious, I just like throw my body at to see if it would break. So before we get any further, I'll say that I don't really like platformers in general, modern or otherwise, which in some ways is a bummer because I feel like every single week I've been like, I don't like this kind of game. I don't like this kind of game. And I'm imagining like I just have a future where I've banned all platformers and roguelikes and all that shit from my house. And there's like a child in this world who like doesn't know these things, and he has a hidden stash of Mario and Super Meat Boy in the cupboard, and I find it, and we have to have a very stiff talk, real heart to heart. I'll be like, it's okay, son. You can like jumping. You can like randomly generated levels. It's okay. I forgive you.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, I don't really like platformers. I tend to get the biggest thing I don't like about them is I tend to get frustrated about redoing work, especially like frickin' Mario games.
Yeah.
You'll do minutes of work and then you'll slip up once and you have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. And I hate that. I don't like that at all. I hate redoing work.
Yeah, you very much like to have your time have some sort of value when you play a game.
Yeah, so anything that's like insta-death and stuff like that, I don't vibe on. And platformers are almost always insta-death or pretty close to it. Like Mario, you get power-ups, but it's pretty hit or miss. So I don't like that. And also I find there's a tendency to overcomplicate mechanics.
Okay.
So Mario, there's so much movement tech that you have to master. But in something like, so I haven't played, at least in a very long time, I haven't played like mainline Mario title, like 2D Mario titles. But I'm thinking we play Mario Maker on the Switch. And you don't get to practice that stuff because every
Yeah.
level is like, we expect you to already know how to do this.
That's true.
We expect you to know what a triple jump is. We expect you to know how to use like duck jumps and like all this other stuff. And I'm like, I'm no good at it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like wasting my time learning it in the peak form
Yeah.
of the challenge.
That's fair.
Anyway, so Celeste takes these traits, uses them in a way that I find more agreeable. So first of all, Celeste is like really tight at control-wise and gameplay-wise. You can pretty much only do 3 things with Madeline. You can jump, you can do like an air dash, which you point your analog stick in a direction and hit a button in midair and she goes in that direction. And you can grab onto walls for a little bit and you can shimmy up and down them, jump off them, and you can mix and match those as you will. Those are the only 3 things you could do.
All right.
There's a couple other gimmicks that come up, which I didn't like that much, but like in terms of core gameplay, that's all you do. It's super easy to figure out like the puzzle of a situation because you only have so many options.
Right. Okay.
And it's the way they use space is pretty fun. Like it's very fragmented. So there's a lot of like figuring out how to get around certain like danger zones to get to the safe spots that recharge your air dash because you can only use 1 at a time before you hit the ground. Yeah, so I like the way they tackle that. And the best part is you really don't play across large areas that need to be repeated. It's usually a single room or at most like a panning stretch of level that once you get to the end, never have to redo. And they're pretty short. Like even the longest ones are maybe 20, 25 seconds long. So even if you're dying repeatedly, it's really quick to get back to where you were. Like I never felt like I had to redo that much work. There was like maybe one pretty long room where I felt like where I died a whole bunch and it took me a while to get to the bottom, but even there was like a resting point in the middle. The whole thing, once I got it, was like a 30-second room, maybe, not even.
Yeah. There's like a lot of opportunity for you to kind of get muscle memory like pretty quickly with what you're doing if you happen to have trouble with a certain area.
Exactly. Yeah. And because it's so simple and precise, like movement tech wise, it's really easy to get it like ingrained in your brain because it's just single button presses.
Right.
So that's a really nice thing. So even though I died a bunch, it didn't feel that irksome. Like I very rarely felt frustrated. The only times I felt like frustrated were when there were really specific things that I was probably doing wrong, but like had figured out a way to do it in my brain and was like, we're gonna do it even if it's not the best way. And then I'd be stuck there for a while and eventually get it. But even then, it was pretty quick. I'd take a break and come back to it, and it was fine.
Nice.
So the only things like mechanic wise that frustrated me were there was a specific level. So it's like the 3rd or 4th level. It's called like Golden Ridge or something like that, and they have these dumbass clouds. I hate these clouds. So the clouds are like a bouncy trampoline thing.
Sure.
But you have to time your jump off of them really pretty specifically. You have to like wait. You sit, it drops, and then it comes back up, and you have to jump not when it first comes back up, before it reaches the top, but not once it's at the top. So it's kind of a weird window where you have to jump to actually get a boost off of it. So I died many dozens of times just because I didn't get the bounce off it, which was super annoying, especially because a lot of the clouds were like, you get 1 bounce, and then it goes away. So I couldn't just like practice the bouncing.
Right.
And then to make matters worse, there was a section that had this wind thing where like it just blows wind in a direction that changes the physics. And these stupid snowballs that go randomly from right to left and kill you if they hit you. So yeah, that I didn't like, but those were all just like the gimmicks of the stage, not
Sure.
agreeing with me. It's not like anything about the game as a whole. And I'm also just really bad at pressing the stick in the right direction because I get sweaty when I play platformers because I am nervous all the time. So like you have to be really precise about, am I pushing it in the diagonal, straight up, straight to the right, because that dramatically changes what happens when you
Where-
press the dash button.
Yeah.
So if you're not consistently getting it in the right direction, you're just gonna die. Yeah, it's pretty important. That's just me being bad, though. Me being bad and moist is what that is.
Oh, gross.
But I think this is an interesting game to talk about after last week. So last week we talked about Dark Souls and like accessibility of games and difficulty and stuff like that. We had like a pretty lengthy discussion about this. And Celeste is known for being really, really difficult. Like that's one of the things people know about it, is it's a really tricky platformer. And like your Dark Souls experience in general, you just got to get good to progress and succeed. But Celeste includes a great set of assist features, like accessibility features that directly affect difficulty. So the ones that I know of are you can turn yourself invincible. So like spiky things or things that would kill you that are not falling off the stage don't matter.
Okay.
You can give yourself extra air dashes because usually you get one and then you have to have your feet on the ground in some way
Yeah.
to get another one. Or there's like things you can dash through to get additional dashes, doesn't matter. You can get like infinite or more of those. And the one I think is really interesting is you can slow the game speed down by percentages.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
For a platform that makes so much sense because a lot
Yeah.
of it is, especially for me, like I can conceptualize what to do, but execution is a problem because I get like, it's almost like when you speak gibberish, but with my fingers, they just like don't do what I want them
Yeah.
to do. So that's really nice. And the game, interestingly, and something that's so anti Dark Souls experience is it doesn't discourage you from using these. Like in other games, they might be like, you can use this, but you can't get the true ending, or you can use this, but you
Yeah.
can't.
You don't get achievements.
You don't get achievements or whatever
Yeah.
like that. This game doesn't care. It's like
Yeah.
use them if you want. We want you to enjoy this game.
Right.
So you can still like get all the secrets. You can do the bonus levels and like all that kinds of stuff.
That's
Play
awesome.
through the whole game. I think I might, if I revisit the game after this week, I will probably use those because I didn't use them at all for the couple hours I played before this. But I might use those, not necessarily all the time, but if there's a section, because you can also turn them on and off willy-nilly. So if there's parts that I'm really getting frustrated with, I might start using those. And I'm glad that that option is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's nice to enjoy your games. And it is I didn't mention this at all yet, but it is a beautiful game. It's very vibrant, like modern pixel art, like very colorful, very pretty. The sprites are really detailed and unique. The music's awesome. People talk about the music all the time. And they also made the music kind of, it kind of does double duty. So it's atmosphere, which is really nice. But then there is this whole thing. How do I explain this? So one of the secrets you can find are B-sides and eventually C-sides, like a tape, like an A B-side. And the B-sides are bonus levels using the gimmicks from the level you found the B-side in with remixed music of that level as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is kind of a cool touch.
Yeah.
I like that a
Oh,
lot
love
as a
it.
concept. But yeah, so if you like platformers, even if you're not that good at them, if you like them, definitely recommend this game. It's a beautiful, well-deserving of the hype. Yeah, that's all I got for Celeste, I think.
Nice. What would you rate Celeste?
Celeste, as an experience, it's very, very good. I imagine it'll get better as I go now that I'm like over my like I can do this phase, and I'm just like use the assist features. I'll probably have an even better time. I'm gonna give it like a 9.5 strawberries out of 10.
Wow.
Delicious, glistening strawberries.
Ooh.
What about you? What would you rate your Apotheon?
I think I would rate it 8 out of 10.
High numbers this week.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 nectar of healings. which is your
Wow.
health potion. Because I mean, I did really enjoy this game. I think it's in terms of like technicalities of the game, maybe not as, up to snuff as something, like Borderlands 2 or The Witcher 3, like not, which are pretty incredible.
Those are also AAA titles with
Exactly.
absurd budgets.
Exactly. So like for what it is and for its simplicity and the couple of quirks that I found with it, I will give it an 8 out of 10.
Nice. I think we've covered our duty this week. We've given you 2 games. We'll be back next week with 2 more. I will be turning into a dictator and playing Tropico 4.
Whoa.
That's all I know about the game is there's dictators.
Oh, I didn't even know that about the game.
That's literally all I know. I know nothing else. I'm very intrigued.
Ooh, and I'll be playing Worms Revolution, which I know absolutely nothing about, so I can't wait to just install it and see what happens.
That's why we do this.
Am I supposed to do the socials?
I don't know them.
Okay, then I'll do them. Okay. We also are on social media. Catch us at IFIOT Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, and we are on most of the major podcasting platforms. And if there is one that you prefer that we are not on, let us know, and we can see if we can get on it.